Hi, I'm Tracy Townsend. I'm bringing you through this week's top stories around Columbus. As gold and silver prices climb, many Ohioans are heading to coin shops to find out what their jewelry is worth. Silver hasn't been this high since 2011. Kevin Landers spoke with local appraisers about the surge. Also, Rochelle Aline breaks down a new 92-page report on that deadly bus crash along Interstate 70. The NTSB is making 8 recommendations aimed at preventing future tragedies. And a Pike County woman reflects on a life-changing moment celebrating 50 years since her life-saving kidney transplant. Let's dive into these stories and others making news across our city.
Inside this Grandview coin appraiser store,
it's like a little scavenger hunt.
Word is out that gold and silver prices are soaring.
Anytime you see a big number that gold goes up, everybody starts coming in.
People like Laura Callister of Worthington. After her mother passed away, she was left with jewelry she doesn't wear, but had no idea, she says, the rising price of gold.
No, not at all. Honestly, I had no, I wasn't like intentional about, oh, this is the time to sell.
She hopes her gold does better than other precious metals her mother owned.
She also had a lot of diamonds, and I have been shocked at the low value of that.
In 2019, the average price of gold was just over $1,300 an ounce. In 2025, the average price was closer to $4,000 an ounce, a 184% increase. During that same time, silver went from just over $17 an ounce to just over $44 an ounce. That's a 148% increase.
So this is what would be 50 cents, right, per coin. 2 coins together equals $1. These 2 coins together would be $21.
Those who buy and sell gold and silver say there's something customers should not do if they want to get the most from their investments.
You really don't want to clean coins. Typically that diminishes the value.
So whether you have a single ounce in a gold coin or 100 ounces in a silver bar, now may be the best time to start collecting those coins or pieces of jewelry and cash out. Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
It's no secret that heating and cooling systems are generally the biggest energy user in homes, but what else could be running up your bill that you may not realize?
The more you can reduce the energy consumption in your unit, the better you're going to have from an efficiency and cost standpoint.
Kit Hagan of Nationwide Energy Partners says even making a few degree adjustment to your thermostat can make a big difference in your energy costs. Finding ways to use less hot water can also be effective.
If you're hand washing dishes versus using your dishwasher, that can drive a significant amount of cost as well, upwards of $40 to $50 per month in additional costs.
Something you may not realize, electronics like TVs and gaming consoles may be using power even when they're turned off.
The best thing you can do is either completely turn them off or unplug them. For instance, unplugging a gaming system can save you about $50 a year.
One area that may not be using as much energy as you think is lighting. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, electricity consumption for lighting accounts for only about 6% of electricity consumption in homes.
It is a place to save energy, but and LED light bulbs are a good solution for that. But the amount of electricity used for lighting in your apartment, it pales in comparison to the amount of electricity for the heating and cooling system and the water heating systems.
One more thing to consider for people moving into apartments or condos, where your unit is located in a building can have an impact on your energy costs. See if you can get a report like this one before moving in to see the average costs for that particular unit. Reporting in Columbus, Catherine Simon, 10 TV News.
He was just a goofy kid.
Memories frozen in time.
He was a character. He was, I mean, he always made everyone laugh.
Are one of the few ways the Granger family keeps their son Jacob's presence alive.
Jacob, that's all I heard.
After he was shot and killed in February of 2020. According to court records, Herman Sanchez Jr., who was just 16 at the time, is the accused shooter. And since then, the Granger family says his murder trial has been left in limbo.
I stopped making plans of taking off work, and I was like, okay, let's just see if they say what they say is true. And we would go from there. And then here we are. 6 years later, I'm still feeling that way, as if it's not going to happen.
Earlier this month, his case was continued until next year. It's the latest of almost 30 continuances in the case. So we asked the prosecutor's office why this was happening, and a spokesperson told us the problem is twofold. First up is the fact that Sanchez Jr. has changed attorneys 4 times. According to state law, each time he does this, the case resets. And legally, it appears he can keep doing this indefinitely. And the second reason is one the Granger family says they know all too well.
2020 COVID, they were backlogged, which is understandable.
Back in April, Franklin County prosecutor Shayla Favor asked county commissioners for almost $400,000 so she could hire more staff to help address this part of the problem.
I remain steadfast in my mission to bring transformative change to
The money was approved, but for the Granger family, that change has yet to trickle down, leading them to put out this cry for help.
And I just feel like at some point within a case, I don't know how powerful, like the judge, someone should say, okay, enough is enough. Like, this needs to be done. It needs to be over.
In Columbus, Rochelle Aline, 10 TV News.
Westerville City Schools hoping to get voters in the district on board with a 0.75% earned income tax on the ballot to generate more than $24 million.
These decisions are not made lightly.
Monday night, the Board of Education and Superintendent discussed what may need to be cut if it fails.
Many of those programs are the reasons that kids come to school in the morning.
Programs like art, music, and physical education for elementary students, reduced advanced placement and college credit plus courses for high school students, as well as reductions in specialized learning and gifted services programs.
Not being able to offer all those opportunities it's heartbreaking.
Cuts in classes would also mean cuts in jobs, with proposed cuts to more than 120 positions. There would also be increases in pay to participate fees for middle and high school sports and a reduction in bus routes.
We have to increase funding because we haven't had that since 2019.
Some parents in the district, like Lori Wilson, are in favor of the ballot issue because of how those cuts may impact the experience for all students. After the ballot issue failed last November, more than $9 million in cuts have already been made this school year.
In my heart, I believe that we have a better chance of passing this levy.
But not everyone in the district is on board.
It's also very difficult to have to endure an income tax, any tax, for working families that can't afford it right now.
Voters last passed a levy in the district 6 years ago, and Superintendent Angie Hamburg says a 25% cut in funding from the state forced them to increase the ask for this ballot measure.
If we were fully funded at the state level per their own funding formula, we would be able to ask for a lot less.
Wilson says these cuts could severely impact the kids in the district who need these resources the most.
For a lot of kids, it's their safe space, and it's where they will have an opportunity to provide a better life for themselves than maybe the one they came from.
For 3.5 hours Monday, Ohioans testified before the Joint Committee on Congressional Redistricting. They spoke out against gerrymandering and for fair maps.
This isn't just about politics. It is about life and death.
We should be talking about the process and not the fact that we're separate parties. And we're just tired. We're so exhausted by this.
Many testified in favor of the map proposed by the Democrats, seen here on the right. It would create 8 districts that favor Republicans and 7 that favor Democrats. Under the current map on the left, Republicans hold 10 of Ohio's 15 seats in the U.S. Congress.
They don't all meet my demands, but clearly, bad faith of the Republicans by not having a map here today limits my preference for a map.
Republicans have not yet put forward a map, something Democrats emphasized several times.
We've done our part. We've released our maps, and now we're asking Republicans to release theirs. We're asking them to release their maps so we can continue this process and get the ball rolling on passing fair, constitutional maps for the state of Ohio.
Republicans say they are following the constitutional process and taking public input.
Republicans will be following the Constitution. And when we propose our map, I'm sure we will make it public. We are going through the process as required now. We had our first hearing. We will have a second hearing.
Neither side expects to pass a bipartisan map by the September 30th deadline.
My opinion, it was a dog and pony show. I mean, this was for the benefit of you, it's for the people that came in here. If you think they're going to look at anybody's submitted maps, I think same odds that I root for the team up north in football this year. That's not going to happen.
We were told a week ago by the Democrats that the only map that is acceptable is an 8-7 map. So if an 8-7 map is the only one acceptable, then how are we going to get that done by September 30th? It makes it very unlikely, and it pushes the envelope to a potential November vote.
Today marks a step forward in bringing affordable housing to Linden with the groundbreaking of 14 new affordable homes on lots like this one.
We are Linden. We are Linden.
Core Place in Linden will soon look a bit different. Within the next week, construction is expected to start on 14 new single-family homes.
The ultimate goal is to put folks in affordable homes. There is a lack of supply here, and there is opportunity for folks at a middle income level to be able to buy these homes. There's just not enough on the marketplace.
The project is being led by the Central Ohio Community Land Trust with funding help from the City of Columbus through its affordable housing bonds.
The people of Linden are special. It's about time that our city and our other partners invested in them the way they deserve.
Once the homes are built, they'll be sold at affordable prices to people who qualify. The average annual income of land trust home buyers is just over $55,000. 90% of land trust homeowners are first-time buyers, and 76% are minority heads of households.
This is going to be a cornerstone project for what goes on in this community. There's other projects that are going on, but from a residential standpoint, in my humble opinion, this is really going to set the tone for what's to come in Linden.
The homes are supposed to be completed by fall 2026. Reporting in Linden, Catherine Simon, 10 TV News.
John Strickland traveled nearly 1,000 miles from Florida to be in Marion, Ohio today.
Ensure that my father, John Strickland, has not been forgotten, and to also support the other victims of violent crimes. It gives us a little peace and solitude that he will be remembered here.
Outside the Marion County Sheriff's Office now stands the Homicide Victims Memory Garden, a place for families and law enforcement to reflect.
I hope this garden will help all of you that have lost loved ones, a place to come and remember them and think about them and what they meant to you. I want you all to know that we have not forgotten them, and we never will.
It's now the largest memory garden of its kind in Ohio.
I wanted to have room to grow. I never wanted to have to turn victims away.
Courtney Rittenauer with the Marion Victim Assistance Program led the effort.
Losing a loved one unexpectedly into violence is absolutely unimaginable. So about 2 years ago, I really started to hear that they all were feeling the same thoughts.
They wanted somewhere close to home. So she formed a committee and they started raising funds, reaching $75,000.
What makes this garden especially meaningful is that it was created for Marion by Marion. Every dollar that brought this project to life came from local donors, neighbors, businesses, and community members who believed in the importance of honoring these families.
And this sculpture serves as a centerpiece for the memorial garden. On its tiers, the names of homicide victims in Marion County.
I looked up and there she was, and I'm like, there's my girl.
Families say the space offers peace and healing.
Come here and be able to sit and just talk with her, because I don't like going to the grave. It's a reminder. This is a reminder of peace and healing.
The point of this garden was to be extremely gorgeous and peaceful, a place of light and hope. And it is beyond what I thought it would be. This will be a blessing for a lot of families.
For Strickland, it's about commitment.
It's a commitment from the community to us, the families of the victims, that they haven't been forgotten. And it's very important to give us a place of rest and peace.
Reporting in Marion, Libby Cappy, 10 TV News.
This 92-page report details the cause of the deadly I-70 crash in Licking County and how to prevent it from happening again. In it, the National Transportation Safety Board makes 8 recommendations. They include a call for stronger federal guidance on how states should manage traffic and communication with first responders after accidents, performance standards for technology that can help commercial drivers avoid a crash, stricter fire safety standards for coach buses, and requirements for driver monitoring systems in commercial vehicles. We asked the president of the Ohio Trucking Association, Tom Balzer, where the industry stands on that last suggestion.
But is that something that normally truck drivers typically have in their vehicles?
The addition of artificial intelligence to be able to monitor eye movement and to be able to monitor, the in-cab activities is something that's relatively new to the industry.
Balzer tells 10TV they routinely work to monitor how fast drivers are going and have given them tech to clear up blind spots on the road. But he says improving safety on the road is a joint effort with the state and federal government. In Ohio, he says transportation officials have gotten better at warning drivers of upcoming slowdowns using signs along the road. But there's some new tech on the horizon to make these updates even faster.
We actually have a system, or trucking companies can have a system that is an in-cab system that the Department of Transportation can send out dynamic instantaneous messages so people know when there is an issue.
And it's work that Balzer says is always top of mind for his industry. But he adds that it's been given even higher priority ever since that deadly crash.
I want to give interviews in the future that never have to deal with this again. And that's the hope, is we get to that point where we never have to have an interview like this ever again.
Kaleidoscope started this program back in 2019 specifically to help members of the LGBTQ+ community who were experiencing homelessness. Now 10 young people could lose access to these resources.
The uncertainty is really overwhelming, I guess, because I don't have a solid plan right now.
After becoming homeless as a teenager, TR had finally found some stability in Kaleidoscope's housing program.
I've never received a lot of care or support throughout my entire life. I don't know, it was such a good resource that I found.
For the 21-year-old, finding shelter accommodating the queer community was a priority.
Being able to start new and build a new community, because I've built such a great community here in Columbus, has been the best thing ever.
For the last 2 years, Kaleidoscope has received about $114,000 for the housing program. On its website, Kaleidoscope says it got a letter from ODH referring to House Bill 96, which says no funds shall be distributed to youth shelters that promote or affirm social gender transition. ODH tells 10TV Kaleidoscope verified they complied with this requirement. Though it provides housing, Kaleidoscope says on its website it's not a youth shelter. ODH says Kaleidoscope's grant was not renewed because the nonprofit was beat out by other applicants. Without funding, Kaleidoscope's website says the housing program will close, leaving people like TR with questions about what comes next.
We just happen to be queer, and so it's really unfair that just because we are the way we are, we shouldn't get support now.
According to Kaleidoscope, the soonest these young people could be kicked out of their housing is November. But right now, they're looking at ways to keep their leases going through next July. Reporting in Columbus, Carla Rogner, 10TV News.
When Keaton Gray needs to smile, she thinks of her late daughter, Kaija.
She was always smiling. She was always happy. She still makes me smile by just thinking of her smile.
Kaija is one of 1,539 babies in Franklin County who, over the last 10 years, did not survive their first year of life.
She was here 3 months and 26 days, and she passed away November 23rd of 2024.
Tonight's Field of Angels Memorial at City Hall honored Kaija and all those infants lost. Every white pinwheel, a name, a story.
I am reminded that my story is written along so many others and that none of us should have to carry this alone.
Attendees, many grieving families, were also invited to share memories on a remembrance wall and contribute to a commitment wall.
More than a decade ago, I sat with families who had faced this unimaginable loss. Their pain made it clear Columbus needed to do more.
The event was organized by Celebrate One, the city's initiative to reduce infant mortality. Celebrate One connects families with safe sleep education, prenatal care, and community resources to prevent infant deaths.
Today is an event for us to pause and recognize and acknowledge the loss of these families and of these young babies, but also to help inspire and galvanize the community to come together to continue to make sure that our children are reaching their first birthday.
The problem extends beyond Franklin County. Ohio has one of the highest infant mortality rates in the nation, about 7 infant deaths for every 1,000 live births. And Black infants are nearly 2.5 times more likely to die than white infants, according to Groundwork Ohio.
State policy has a lot to do with that as well. So making sure that we have Medicaid policy that's available for families, that housing policy supports families, and that we're really just thinking about how we are supporting families as a state.
For parents like Gray, tonight wasn't just about loss, but strength.
To see the strength in myself today by coming here by myself and wearing my daughter on my t-shirt and saying her name and just being grateful for everyone around here that came as well to be here with me.
I'm just grateful, thankful, and blessed, to be this long out.
It's been 50 years since Bobby Shepard's life-saving kidney transplant, making her one of the longest living kidney recipients from a deceased donor in the nation.
My mom had taken me to different hospitals because she knew something was wrong. The call came September 17th, 1975, I was having a kidney transplant.
Shepard was just 7 years old when a family in Cincinnati, grieving a little girl of their own, made a decision that would save her life.
She died of respiratory failure, and my mom had met the family, and the 16-year-old brother didn't want her to be a donor. And my mom said, would you please go in there and look at my daughter? He come back out and he said, yeah, he wanted me to have the kidney of his sister.
5 decades later, Shepard is a mother of 4.
And we have 14 grandbabies, and so we got them from 18 all the way down to the 2 years old.
Her family calls it a legacy, built on the gift of life.
Thank you to the doctors that done her kidney transplant, and I want to say thank you for putting it in and her still being alive this day.
Shepard says she lives every day to honor her donor's memory and to spread awareness about organ donation.
Love to meet the family, and I would tell them how grateful that I have been for this, because donation lives on. I've got kids and now I've got grandbabies through her legacy. That was the gift of life to me, my second chance, and it has been a good one.
And the need for organ donors remains urgent.
Across the United States, about 100,000 individuals are awaiting a life-saving transplant. Here in Ohio, it's about 3,000 individuals. And bringing it a little bit closer home to Central Ohio, it's 1,000.
Kidneys are the most needed organ for transplant, with nearly 85% of patients on the national wait list for an organ in need of a kidney.
And 17 people a day are dying across the country awaiting that life-saving transplant, and that call doesn't come in time. And so that's why we encourage everyone to say yes to donation. It's so important.
Shepard hopes more people say yes after hearing her story.
Because other people can live on through your child or your loved one's legacy. Look at the life that I've lived, 50 years.
Reporting in Pike County, Libby Cathy, 10 TV News.
That's it for this week's edition of Around Columbus, your look at the stories shaping Central Ohio. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you next time. And remember, you can always get the latest updates anytime with the free 10 TV News app.